What's going on, everyone? Scott here. Welcome back to the channel. So Michigan State football looks to continue their 2-0 start against the Youngstown State Penguins on Saturday at 3:30 on BTN. Now, this is Michigan State's last non-conference game before heading into conference play next week out in LA against USC. Now, last week, obviously a thrilling win for Michigan State to move to 2-0, beating Boston College, getting revenge from last year. Tough loss in Chestnut Hill. Getting revenge in a game that really showed us a lot, in my opinion, about Michigan State. They had to keep coming back. Things weren't going their way at times. Even the players said some of that. Like, at times, it just seemed like things were not going their way. Every single time, though, they continued to fight back, made plays when it matters most. Was it a perfect game? Absolutely not. But they were able to continue making plays throughout in order to win this game. Aiden Childs coming out party to the whole world. This is all the potential that we've talked about since he came over here with Jonathan Smith from Oregon State. We saw it all last week. His best game as a Spartan and absolutely balled out. And for that reason, he was the co-Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week. And then on defense, stand out all year long. Jordan Hall, Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week in the Big Ten. Just absolutely incredible across the board. A lot of stuff to still work on, and we'll kind of get to that once we get to the Michigan State side of things. But we're here to preview the last non-conference game before we get into the conference season starting next week. So before we do jump in, if you could, just hit that like and subscribe button down there. We'll have more Michigan State football content on the channel, so just make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a video. So let's just jump in. As we said, 3:30 BTN, Michigan State's last non-conference tune-up before getting into conference play. We'll start with the Youngstown State Penguins. Just go through a couple quick stats so far. Obviously, 2 games in, it's, a team from the Missouri Valley Conference. Not a whole lot to talk about, with all due respect to Youngstown State. I think that this is kind of a Tom Izzo-esque type of, game. Listen, I'm not saying Youngstown State is a team that could compete to be in the top 25. But listen, their quarterback, especially who we're going to talk about here, definitely can cause some problems and looks for Michigan State see later on down the line this year. So I definitely think this is going to be a good look. So a team that you know that you're better than, but can provide some challenges for you to work on that will benefit you later in the year. That's a classic Tom Izzo special in November, early December scheduled game, late December scheduled game. We're seeing this here with Michigan State football, in my opinion, just in, certain facets of the game. But Youngstown State on the year, they're 2-0, have a 24-15 win over Mercyhurst, a 56-17 win over Robert Morris, and their quarterback, who I talked about, first game, 114 yards passing, 145 yards rushing. Second game, 122 passing, 264 yards rushing. That's absolutely incredible. Dual threat, I don't even think is the right word. But, he is spinning it, not that much. He has 37 attempts on the year, but he's completing 70% of his passes. If you can do the quick math, that's 236 yards total through the air on the year. He has a touchdown. He's only been sacked twice as well. That just gives you an idea of his elusiveness. And on the flip side, Michigan State has, as we know, dating back to last year, trouble getting to the quarterback, finishing the sack. But on the year as well, he is by far and away their leading rusher as well. He's rushed it 38 times. That is one more time than he has thrown a pass this year. 409 yards on the year. That's 10.8 yards a run. He has also had a long of 78 yards. 6 touchdowns on the year to go with his 1 passing. 7 total touchdowns. Other rushing stats to look at, Jaden Gilbert, another running back for them. Only one even remotely close, which is still 24 carries total away. He's at 14 carries, 82 yards on the year, and a touchdown. Receiving, obviously not a whole lot of receptions, but a couple guys with 7, mainly Max Tomzak, a wide receiver, 112 yards on the year and their only passing touchdown through the air. Defensively, you look at a handful of guys with double-digit tackles so far. Dane Hodge, DB, Dathan Hickey, DB as well. Karsten Marshall, 13 tackles on the year. And then Colin Vaughn as well on the defensive line with 10 tackles. They have 4 sacks total on the year. You got 2 from a linebacker, Michael Wells, and 1.5 from Ebony Curry Jr., a defensive lineman. 2 total interceptions on the year as well. So you look at a team, as a team, they can put up points, and that's what I'm talking about. They're averaging 40 points a game. And then I always like to look down at their third down efficiencies. 10 for 21 on the year. It's about 48% on the year, 3 for 4 on fourth down. That's good for 75%. So I think this is a team that, while this is definitely probably the least talented team that Michigan State will face this year, definitely think that they could possibly cause some, stylistic problems for Michigan State to look at here going forward. But for me, this is Michigan State. As I said, this is their last tune-up before getting into conference play. It's a tough start to conference play as well. On the road at USC, on the road at Nebraska. Definitely, going to be two tough environments against two teams that, pretty much figure to for sure finish in the first half of the league. Both of those teams, I think, have a good shot at finishing in the top quarter of the league as well. So, towards the top quarter, maybe just outside the top quarter as well, depending on how you do the math there. But I think what I want to see is just a clean game, again, from Michigan State. Obviously, there's some stuff that you still need to do clean up. Pass protection was a little bit better, but again, 4 sacks on Aiden Childs. He has 8 total on the year, 4 each game. But some of the stuff was better, but I think some of it too is Aiden being more comfortable and aware when he is scrambling, getting out of the pocket, making smart decisions like that. And that's another thing. Continue to make smart decisions, Aiden Childs. On the year, obviously, he has 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. That is absolutely huge. Running the ball, he has put the ball on the ground. I believe he's put it on the ground twice. Both of those were in the first game, I believe. But just not putting the ball in harm's way, continuing to do that, just to continue those good habits. Obviously, this has been a really good start for Aiden Childs compared to last year. I believe Ben Stevens on Twitter, whatever you want to call it on Twitter, put out the stat. Here it is. So in the last 5 games, Aiden Childs, 11 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. The 9 prior games, 11 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. That just shows you exactly what this coaching staff, Aiden Childs, as a whole, has focused on. Like second half of last year, definitely during the offseason, beginning this year. Do not put the ball in harm's way. Been able to do that, but definitely offensive line, working on the pass protection, working on those habits, finding static group. It seems like they're still going to be rotating that offensive line from what it sounds like from Jonathan Smith's press conference this week. Would like to see them kind of settle in on a 5 to 7 person rotation, but, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, this is another game that you can do that. Maybe that's why he said it, but you never know. Still like to put your best foot forward and get everything kind of finalized this week before you head into conference play full out. But one thing, the offensive line has been a pleasant surprise, run blocking. And Mekhi Frazier has been the leading rusher this year. Brandon Tullis has gotten a good amount of carries as well, but Mekhi Frazier, 184 yards on the year. That's 5.9 a carry. Brandon Tullis has 11 for 81 on the year. Then obviously Aiden Childs, him scrambling, whatever. But we have seen a lot more designed runs for Aiden Childs. I would personally like to see the pass protection in this game just continue to get ironed out, working on those. Yes, this isn't the best defense that you're going to play when you play some of the other top teams that we're going to play throughout conference play over the next 2.5 months. But it's building those habits and getting that confidence going in. Obviously, the wide receiver core, Nick Marsh, Omari Kelly, they have been incredible on the year. I mean, Nick Marsh has 10 catches for 100 yards. 3 of those are for touchdowns already. Getting the tight ends involved. Michael Masunas has been really, really efficient. 5 catches for 53 yards and a touchdown last game as well. But hey, out of that tight end room as well, really loved the rep from Jaden Savory. His, really, I think it was his only rep in the game. But he had 1 catch for 16 yards. It was an incredible catch as well. Jonathan Smith said it seems like we'll hopefully be able to see him more. Curious, still think probably redshirt this year, but would like to see definitely some more reps while we can within that 4 games. And then Jack Velling as well. 1 catch on the year for 3 yards. He did miss, I think, all of fall camp from the sounds of it. So kind of thought coming in that it could be a slow start to the year for Jack Velling, and we've kind of seen that so far. But kicking, which we kind of maybe even glossed over this last week, but how about this for freshman kicker Martin Connington? He comes in, nails his first 2 kicks. The first one is a 50-plus yarder. Second one from 30-plus yards. You needed both of them. If you don't hit both of those, you are not in as good of a spot to win last game. Not saying that it's completely out of the water that you would not win that game without those 2 field goals, but you are definitely in a worse position if the freshman does not come in after being injured most of fall camp, from what it sounds like, missing the first game, coming in a big-time game, big-time environment, hitting those 2 kicks. Absolutely incredible. And then Blake Sislow as well. Shout out to him. I mean, he's had an incredible start. Obviously, only kicking extra points. Haven't tried him on a field goal this year. Martin Connaughton had one of the extra points as well last game, but shout out for filling it. I mean, rough start to the year in terms of health injury wise for the kickers, and came out in a big time moment in a game that Michigan State needed to win for momentum for the program going forward. They both came out and did that. So yeah, like to see just some more rips of the ball. I mean, I'd like to see touchdowns in this game, and I think this needs to be a game of touchdowns to kind of iron out all the kinks, run your base stuff, kind of get everything in, get the rotation go to get everything set going into conference play, but then defensively as well. I mean, the start to the year that Jordan Hall has had, 23 total tackles already, a sack, he has a forced fumble as well, but the safety that he helped create in week 1 as well. Just all over the field. Has the defense been perfect? No. In the run game, yes, they have been really, really good, and that has been, really good to see. Obviously, the sack total is still the problem. They had 4 sacks week 1, week 2, 0. That needs to change. You need to get yourself feeling good. As we've said multiple times, Youngstown State is not going to be the most talented offensive line, offense, whatever that you're going to face. If you can't get to the quarterback and get 4+ sacks or so this game, I think this is a major problem that we could see going into conference play starting next week. So, I think the interior of the defensive line, linebackers as a whole, have been really incredible. Obviously, last game we saw kind of the defensive backfield, had some rough moments, but some of it, and I said it kind of in the post-game show, but post-game recap, that I think a lot of it was, Boston College, I think their quarterback and their offense is just actually good. Like, am I saying we have a top 25 defense? No, I think we could possibly get there by the end of the year. If we can start getting the quarterback, I think that leaps us up a ton. As of right now, we're not there, but there's a lot of good pieces, obviously, on this team, and a lot of stuff that so far, but it's all going to start. The season on the defense is going to be decided by, can we get to the quarterback? But yeah, as I said, think the middle of the defensive line, linebackers as a whole, really solid start to the year. Edges, defensive backfield, definitely needs to see some improvement. Definitely heard a lot about miscommunication and, not even missed assignments. I think, Jonathan Smith even said it in his press conference this week. Some of it is just like, you're 2 steps too late, but if you're 2 steps too late, we seen it last game. It doesn't matter. Like, if you're 2 steps late, that's as good as a missed assignment. Like, yeah, it maybe looks a little bit better on tape because you aren't, instead of being 2 feet away, missed assignment and you're, 10 yards away, so some of that, doesn't matter, but that's got to just be ironed out. Overall on the year though, for Michigan State, something that I think has been overall really impressive as well is, the penalties. They have 11 penalties on the year, but a handful of those have been on, special teams. So some of that can get cleaned up a little bit. They haven't been egregious ones. Offense hasn't been a lot either. Defense as well. 11, through 2 games for a 47-yard average per game. That's 95 total yards on the year. I thought they also, have, done a really good job in the time of possession with 33 minutes a game. They are currently -1 in the turnover ratio, but the defense not really creating many turnovers so far. On the year they've lost 2 fumbles, and then they, got the fumble last game as well. So still -1 in the turnover ratio, but overall on the year, third down efficiency, 9 for 25. That has definitely got to go up. That's 36%. That number needs to get closer to, 44, 45%, somewhere in there. 2 for 3 on 4th down. Not horrible, but definitely something that can be improved. Rushing yards, as we said, that's been, something that's been a surprise. 4.2 yards per carry definitely could be better, but, I think that's an improvement from, what we saw last year, especially. But overall, as I said, I think this is a game, kind of get everything aligned that you need to going into conference play starting next week in a tough road game. As we'll get more into that, but kind of just wrapping this one up, a clean game across the board. Don't turn the ball over. Get the offensive line established, both run game and pass game, just so you get that feel good. Maybe even lock in a little bit more onto a strong 5 that'll play 90, 95% of the game as you move into next week, because next week you go to USC and you have an 11 o'clock, not 11 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock at night kickoff. and then you go to Nebraska after a bye week as well. All right, our 5 bets of the week to close this off. Now, the spread for this game at time of recording this a little bit early. Reason is getting married on Saturday, so won't be at the game, won't have an immediate, first thing Sunday morning recap coming out. Should be coming out Monday morning, though, for sure, shortly after. So we'll be at my wedding Saturday, so that's why I'm recording this a little bit earlier, as I have some stuff going on, at the end of the week when you'll be seeing this video. But I'm taking Michigan State to cover the spread, whatever it comes out, because I think this is the game that they just kind of want to get all their base stuff in, feel good before you head on the road for 2 tough games to start conference play. Next up, I'm taking Oregon to cover the spread, 28.5 on the road at Northwestern, and then I'm taking USC minus 21.5. That seems fairly close on the road against Purdue. And then Florida, LSU, I'm taking LSU to cover the spread, 7.5 at time of recording. And then lastly, I am taking under 49.5 in Texas A&M versus Notre Dame. Last week, we actually went 4-1. So that brings our record on the year to 6-4. So looking to continue that. Off to a solid start there. But anyway, yeah, just overall, looking for a solid game on Saturday for Michigan State. And yeah, we will be back possibly late Sunday night, but more than likely probably early Monday morning, getting back from our wedding here on Sunday. So we'll be back to recap it. Hope that we can be talking about a 3-0 Michigan State win, and not just a 3-0 Michigan State win, but a clean, Michigan State win that we can see some positive improvements in the spots that we need improvement in order to continue to move forward. But anyway, that'll do it for this one. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.